Why is
Hi,
there like
welcome
a...
back to another News in General live stream. And tonight, of course, I'm Cole Kruper, and I'm the owner of no, I'm the co-owner of News in General and the host of tonight's live stream. And of course, we have the owner of News in General with us, Jason Guyette, and of course, the host of Front Page Tech, John Prosser. You can follow him on Twitter at John_Prosser, and you can follow Jason on Twitter at Jason Goyette. You can follow myself at CK270. So let's jump right into it. Tonight, the first topic is an article Jason wrote posing the question of
Are we replacing our eyes with cameras?
Hang on, yeah. The question he posed, are we replacing our eyes with cameras? So I'm just going to read into it a little bit here. You've probably noticed it, but everywhere you go, more and more people are looking through a lens or screen. Why? Well, we are becoming more assimilated into the Borg collective. Haha. However, when you look at it, it's not so funny because it's truth. So the question is, are we seeing the full picture if we were always looking through a lens or a screen? Which is a good question. You're always seeing less because we look through screens and stuff like that. And yeah, probably because when you think about it, people that have been to some magnificent places, they'll always say when they come back, the pictures don't do it justice.
Yeah, exactly.
But where do we see these pictures? On the computer. We don't have these papers anymore. We don't have the film era. Well, except for me, I still use film to an extent, but obviously, yeah, you do get more, actually seeing it in person. So you are missing out when you look through like, I guess with cameras, I kind of disagree with you there. Because if you're taking a picture of it, you're already there.
Yeah.
You've seen it with your eyes. So you're just holding the camera up to your eye for a few seconds.
And the reason why I came up with this
unless you're one of those person that does like this.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I came up with this article is I was in Florida back when I lived there, and I was at a theme park, and I noticed a whole family had their cameras out, and they were looking through the screen, taking the picture. Now, when they got done taking the picture, they all left. They did not look back to look with their own eyes to look at the gorilla that we were taking the picture of. They just wanted that picture and then leave. It's like, okay, you just look through the screen of the camera, but you did not look at it with your own eyes to see it.
But they would have seen it. They would have seen it for a few seconds. They may not have appreciated it, but
exactly. So are they having less appreciation for these objects?
It's like here, I've been through the mountains we have here in Alberta and BC. We got the Rocky Mountains here, and national parks associated with them. And you go there and you're walking around or whatever, and I walk around with my camera. I've been there too, right? But I try to enjoy it too, right?
Exactly,
I'll look at it, and that's part of taking a good picture too. You have to at least see it, visually in your mind, figuring what's going to be a good composition, blah blah blah. And if you're just snapping, like, oh, look at me, I'm taking thousands of pictures. They're all terrible, but I've got thousands of pictures. So you're not seeing the full picture in doing that. You're just more focused on the pictures than you are the place you're in. You don't appreciate it. And at the end of the day, you got pictures. You didn't get memories. You didn't spend any time there, really. And if you're with your family or something, once again, you didn't spend any time with your family. You spent time with your camera.
I actually agree with that. That's a good point because, okay, let me think of an example. Okay, an example would be a wedding. Okay, you have how many pictures of people or events that happen at a wedding?
Oh, jeez.
But what are those pictures for? It's not so you can look at the pictures and be like, wow, I got married. It's to remember the experiences that went along with it. So I definitely agree with you.
And when you take pictures, so you want to make sure that they look as natural as possible, can really capture the scene. But if you're just taking thousands of pictures, come on, they're not going to capture the scene.
And I think that's just modern technology, like Jason said. When you walk up and they're like, oh, we're at a zoo. We could look at the animals and we could admire the scenery or check them out, or we could just take a picture and leave and then look at it later when we get home. That'll work too.
And, oh my God, look at this! And tourists are probably really bad for it because that's what they spend most of their time doing. And sure, I take pictures when I'm elsewhere too. But you gotta at least appreciate the place first before you can get good pictures of the place. You see?
So do you think we should dial back on that, or do you think eventually that'll be integrated into our everyday life? We'll just be so used to it,
Well, that would be a terrible hit to photography when you think about it, because if so many people are taking so many shitty pictures, there is no art in photography anymore at that point.
Right.
Of course, Instagram has sped that up, but maybe film was better in that sense. And I know I've kind of gone into a rant on cameras, but film may have been better that way because film, it's being in the roll of film, you need limited, with regular roll of film, 24 or 36 pictures, right? And it costs money to get them developed, so
they meant more that way.
It cost money to get crappy pictures. So then, first of all, you don't have the opportunity to take thousands of pictures unless you have thousands of dollars. So you get to see the scene more, and you get to really think about those pictures that you get. And at the end of the day, you'll get more good pictures. And once again, rant into photography, but you'll be able to appreciate the place more, and you'll have good pictures at the end of the day. So are we missing out? Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And not to get too deep here, but I've actually had these conversations before where, okay, it's more like you can have material things, you can put your money towards material things, or you could, like you guys were saying, you could have pictures.
Yeah.
What happens when those pictures are lost or destroyed, something happens to
Exactly.
them? There's one thing that you always carry with you throughout your whole life, and it's the memories and the experiences that you had. So going up to a gorilla, taking a picture, and walking away doesn't really give you the greatest experience.
Well, if you wanted a picture of a gorilla, here's the process of doing it. Yes, you go to Google Images and go gorilla, and you get thousands upon thousands upon
that was a
thousands
good
of
experience.
Like,
one time I went to Google and I visited thousands of gorillas.
Yeah, like, see, I remembered that. Like, it wasn't unique at all in any way, shape, or form, but I did it. And I don't remember what country has it, but those pink monkeys or whatever, I think those are really cool. But if you wanted to see those, once again, you just Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no sense in, of course, interacting with them or anything. And yeah, I think maybe we take too many pictures without any thought.
Now, also, do you think that cameras show better detail than your own eye does?
If you want ultraviolet light, yeah, sure. No, infrared, right? Yeah. If you want to see the light coming from your TV remote, sure, why not? But still, our eyes are better. Like, think about it. When you, like, let's say, Jason, let's say you're walking down in a back alley. It's a dark back alley, but it's a nice sunny day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the sky all blown out in white by chance, or was it blue?
It was blue.
Okay, so obviously your eye and brain is better at seeing the entire thing.
What about certain
camera.
things? What about certain things? Like certain things are better for a camera, or certain things are better for your eye, or your eye overall.
Photography.
It's better for really the idea of photography is just to be able to go back and look at it at some point and share the experience with other people too. Yeah. But seeing it just as it is, like you see with HDR, you can capture an entire scene in all its colors and all its glory. Your eyes can do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. So you guys won't be the ones to sign up for having a camera implanted in your eye, huh?
Unless I can make my vision any better, why not? But,
there was a movie I saw, and it was just like a horror film, and it was cut up into segments. But one of the segments was that a guy did lose his eye, and they implanted a camera, like a fake eye with a camera in it. And it was a found footage movie, but the footage was from his eye. It was the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen.
Holy cow!
Well,
actually, that would. There's a lot of purpose in that.
I think I read about this before, but it was actually someone that was blind their entire life, right?
Yeah.
Never seen a thing, doesn't know what anything looks like, doesn't know what colors are, because obviously a blind person can't know what colors are if they've never seen them. And they were able to make him see with the camera.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Like John has said, it has a lot of potential in the
medical field mostly.
Yeah. Do you think people would be afraid of that?
Yeah, I think some people would get in. Well, the government can track what I'm seeing. The government
just think about Google Glass. Just the fact that somebody's wearing a camera freaks people out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Then they can take pictures of me. Like, they're only allowed to take pictures of you in public places, but still people get pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, oh, how dare you take a picture of me? Like, some people get pissed off, others won't care.
Hey, you got cameras watching you 24/7.
But exactly, you got cameras everywhere. You go
NSA!
everywhere, and there's cameras,
NSA!
and you make your phone call. Yeah, this is nice and private. Hey, but sure, it may only between the phone call may have been meant for two people, but the NSA's there. Don't worry.
Yeah,
they are there.
They're watching us right now.
Sure they are, yeah. Actually, I was looking online.
Hopefully they're enjoying it.
The U.S. government.
Let's give them a wave. Let's give them a wave. Wait for them to say,
yeah,
guys.
a few times. Yeah, how's it going, buddies? But only a few times.
Buddies.
Actually, yeah, that's a little questionable. Actually, was able to requested Google for like a wiretaps or something like that. So they can, just like your phones, listen in on Google Hangouts and Google Voice and all that.
Skype. Yep, definitely on Skype.
Skype for sure, and of course, what. If the company says no, well, come on, the government's going to have their way anyways.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, unless you have a lot of money to pay them off, which, obviously rich can do. There's one study that found, Congress, the amount of times that they listened to the poor people was never, not zero. They don't listen to them. They only listen to the rich.
Because they got power.
Yeah.
That have money.
And then you have all these political donations, and like, oh, we won't listen to you. Oh, was it a $5 million donation? Sorry about that. Hey, what do you want us to do again?
You got a minute to talk?
Yeah. Oh, you want lower taxes for your big corporations? Oh, we'll get right on that. A total screw job for everyone else, but
yeah, exactly.
For you. So that's just how democracy works. If you have money, talks. Nothing else does.
Yep.
Okay, so we went into eyes and cameras. Now we're into democracy and politics.
Yeah. New conversation.
That's how it happens.
That is how government works. Honestly, if you do not have money, you do not have an opinion.
That kind of leads into the RFID chips too. The cameras
it does, yeah. And technology is becoming more and more integrated with you, but I think our eyes are still better than cameras.
Yeah. Okay.
At the end of the day, for sure. And then in terms of government, I still stand behind what I just said.
Kiss my butt.
Anyways, moving on to a Canadian story right here in my own province. IKEA Canada purchases Alberta wind farm. So IKEA is set to be energy independent by 2020, making many investments in wind farms in many different countries internationally. The most recent wind farm IKEA has gotten its hands on is in Alberta. IKEA Canada has acquired a 49-megawatt wind farm project in Pincher Creek, Alberta, which won't be fully operational until next year. This wind farm will produce enough power to run 32 stores and more than IKEA actually needs in Canada. In other places too, IKEA has purchased wind farms in Denmark, Sweden, Germany, France, Poland, the UK, and Ireland. And I believe the United States was somewhere in there as well. But I think it's nice to see that a big company is taking an interest in alternative energy.
Absolutely,
it's nice to see that because it's going to drive change in the industry and moving away from oil. Like the oil companies have the money to do it, but none of them are interested in doing it, except when they push good ideas under the rug. Like in the 50s, they had cars doing 50 gallons. 50. No, sorry. I remember what it was, but they were really, really fuel efficient. Like they could go a very, very long ways. I don't remember what it was. But
156, I think it was, wasn't it?
Something like that. Anyways, I believe Shell bought it, and no one's ever heard of the idea again.
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
That's because there's no money in it. You know?
Well, no, there is money. That's the problem. And I think that's where all of these oil companies are missing out. Is because there is money in the industry.
Yeah, but they're not into that.
They don't want to be, though. Yeah. Because they want to stick on an old idea because they think they can make money on this old idea forever.
They can make more on it.
But if they could also become leaders in a different industry that the world's trying to push into. Like, look at the Kodak. They invented the digital camera in the 70s. Look where they are today because they didn't want to do anything with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. They totally ignored it, and, well, they filed for bankruptcy in, 2011? Oh, good on them. But the only problem with this wind farm thing is, I was thinking about this, I mentioned this to Jason before we started, is because IKEA just purchased this thing, and this intends to, they intend to power their stores with this thing, it's not going to benefit any Albertans at all anymore. Like, it's not going to produce power for any of us. It's just going to produce power for 32 stores. So unless you shop at IKEA, it's not going to help you any bit at all.
Yeah.
IKEA is huge. I like IKEA.
And of course, in this province, we like oil up here. Obviously, we produce a lot of it. So
Canadians love the oil.
Maybe it was, in one sense.
The Canadian shot. Canadians love their oil.
So in one sense, sure, it's a good thing that a company like this is pushing for change. In another sense, though, it's not really helping the local area around it when it's only producing power for its stores. At least that's the way I see it. So what do you think of this, John?
Okay, so my personal opinion is like you said, it's not going to personally affect you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might somehow, some way, somewhere in the world, but it's not so much that I'm not too worried about it affecting me as much as I am looking forward to it eventually affecting me because of this move, because somebody has to do it first.
Well, imagine this. What if a company like Walmart got aboard something like that?
Yeah.
Powered every one of its thousands of stores.
That would
Don't see it happening, but
just imagine that, though.
Yeah, that'd be good. But like you said, okay, somebody just has to do it, and a big company stepping forward and doing this could push for more innovation throughout the industry.
Oh, for sure.
So
that's what we need.
It's gonna put money
we need an iPhone innovation technique here, where Apple came out with the iPhone, and everybody's like, okay, we need to do this.
It's going to put money into the industry because and the more money that gets into the industry, the more research and development they can do to create better and more efficient products and forms of energy production instead of coal. Because that's what's powering this house. There's a coal-fired plant outside of the city.
Wow.
What? You don't have your own wind farm?
No, I don't have.
What?
I couldn't install one of those windmills in the backyard. No, the solar panels can put those in there.
I'm a big supporter of that, having windmills and like solar panels on top of your roof and stuff.
Could you make something efficient enough to produce enough power to power one house? Could you put one in every backyard that could do it?
If you have the property, you have the money, because I know you have to. I think you have to pay a certain amount of money.
I think in neighborhoods it'd be a problem, because what if one blow up, disintegrated? You'd have windmills falling on people's houses. Can you
imagine the insurance that would have to go along with those?
Oh yeah, windmill. If it falls on a house, it's going to go through the house.
Oh hell
yeah.
Exactly.
It's not stopping until it hits the ground. And so I think in neighborhoods, solar panels make more sense.
Yeah, solar panels.
And technically, you could probably put that on a lot of big stores. Like,
what about solar panels in Canada? I know they don't get that much sunlight up there.
Oh, we do. Like, I don't know what time like our sun.
Wait. The sun is in Canada?
Yeah.
What?
We have every morning the sun comes up, and then at 4:30 it sets.
I say that, but Cole looks like he's tanner than all of us.
Yeah. Well, in the summer we get 12 hours of sun here.
Do you go outside? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I don't even know what the outside looks like.
Nope.
Yeah. See, right here, right now, it's white.
What?
It's
Yeah.
all covered in snow.
It's like a gorilla.
And I think with these big stores, they could probably they have the room to put solar panels on the roof of the stores. Think about how big a Walmart store is, right?
Yeah.
They have
heck yeah.
150 200,000 square feet of floor space, but they'd have the equal amount of space on the roof as well.
Yeah.
Think about how many solar panels you could throw up there to power the entire store.
Yeah.
And you can make the store energy independent, not having to get power off the power grid in its local area. Which would be very. You go ahead, yeah.
I got a question. Do you think if all the major supermarkets and stuff had solar power or solar power? Yeah, solar power and wind power. Would it would it give an effect to the environment? Would it be less pollution and stuff like that?
I think it could, because I think a lot of it too, not just the stores. You start at the stores, and also do it where these products are made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Because these factories.
I think that would be more of an improvement than just powering the actual store.
The store itself uses a lot of power, and so but like Walmart, say for example, they have 8,970 stores. So imagine if every single one of them was energy independent and environmentally friendly. Don't build a coal-fired plant on the property. That's not very environmentally friendly. But if they could do that, 8,000 stores, it can make a difference.
Time to get the mask on, kids. We're going to Walmart.
And it could push huge change in the industry, because Walmart is such a huge player.
Mm-hmm.
Internationally,
it is the player at this point.
It could make a huge change, and then other stores would carry on, and then maybe you could see a lot of change, in the retail industry. And it could move into other industries, and maybe eventually into houses. Sure, they got all these green houses, and not glass, but the house is supposed to be green, environmentally friendly, with their wonderful solar panels on the roof and stuff like that. They're expensive though. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, $40,000 I think.
And another problem here too. I don't know if they solved the problem, and I'm sure they have. Where in places where it snows, you have to put solar panels on the roof. It's not going to work that well when it's covered in snow.
Oh, of course.
Do you want to be going up on your roof every day, shoveling it off?
Apparently that's what you're about. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's got ice on it. I get the ice chipper on this thing. Oh, I broke it. Whoops.
Well, now I learned that might work, because the sun does come out in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. The further you go up north, yes, at certain times of year there's very, very, very little sun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we get a few hours of sun at this time of year. Yeah. The sunrise is just after 7:30 or something. It sets at 4:40 at this time of year.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So in the summer we get tons of sun. But Jason, anything else to say on the IKEA or just the
No,
industry in general?
I find it awesome. Yeah, I find it awesome that they're having these wind farms distributed throughout IKEA stores. Now, will it be on the property? Where's
Well,
this
no,
store
no,
going to be at?
because
It's going to be.
like I said in the article here, I said the plant is the farm. It's outside of Pincher Creek, obviously, and obviously you don't know where that is, but it's a long ways from any IKEA store. I can guarantee that.
Okay, so what they're going to have to do? Are they going to have to do like a lot of electrical and stuff like that?
I would assume, unless they could figure something else out, right?
Because this will take a while for all these stores to have running off this wind farm here. It'll take a while for that to happen, don't you think?
Yeah, and I don't know how many stores IKEA has in Canada. Like I know
France, Poland, UK, Ireland.
In Edmonton, where I am, they only have one IKEA. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna put a lot of damper on the pollution and stuff.
One IKEA.
There you go.
The entire city.
Well, they're big. They're pretty dang big stores.
Oh, it is.
Not that big.
Floors.
Not big enough.
Yeah, I go there. They have some really modern stuff. I like what they do. But I don't know how many stores they have in this wonderful land.
Whoa! Are you saying United States is not wonderful?
No, I think it's because I defend your country all the time when people are saying it's a wonderful place.
I think that Cole Cooper needs a haircut.
USA is great.
No Shave November. I'm supporting it.
Anyways, moving on now into our next topic.
Oh, yes, this is juicy.
We all are going to have something to say on.
Just say
investigation. What
was that word used? Was juicy used there?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I apologize.
This is juicy.
Here we go. This one might result in some yelling. Investigation into a police officer who tased a man for, wait for it, 42 seconds.
That is appropriate.
But first of all, yeah, definitely very appropriate. And the question really should be, was 42 seconds really necessary? And anyways, getting into the story, on Saturday night, police in Fredericksburg, Virginia, tased a man for 42 seconds after being non-compliant with police. Around 7:20 p.m. that night, a car came down hill and hit 5 parked cars. Driver of the vehicle fled the scene and is now wanted for hit and run. The passenger got out of the vehicle and started threatening witnesses if they called 911. The witnesses called 911 anyway. When the police arrived, the first responding officer then ordered the man down. And it is at this point where the man wasn't compliant with the officer and started to run away from the officer, and the officer then fired his taser at the man, hitting the man, sending a continuous stream of electricity into the man for another 42 seconds. Now, don't you think the 2 or 3 seconds would be sufficient to get the man down?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's
Jason, none of us, I don't think any of us have been ever hit by a taser, but from what I understand, it hurts like hell.
I've been shocked pretty bad by a TV.
All right, well.
The electrical cord was like sliced.
Oh, what were you doing? Sitting there cutting it with your.
No.
I didn't realize. Eating it?
Oh, yeah. I'm chewing on it.
Yeah. No, what I was doing was I thought it was like electrical tape around it, and I didn't realize because it was cut for some reason. I don't know why, but I put my hand around the tape. And I thought, all of it was wrapped around it, and it wasn't. And I grabbed it, and it was freaking shocked the crap out of me. I'm holding on to it, and then it slung me up against the wall, and I had to call 911 and all that. I was like 12 years old at the time. So.
In the houses, I believe
it was pretty bad shock.
The volts that come through the outlets are 120.
Yeah.
So.
But it was a pretty bad shock, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I guess you have an understanding then. So obviously it hurts like hell, and so 3 seconds, it usually gets a guy down. And obviously, the police officer was trying to stop this man from running. So wouldn't 2-3 seconds be sufficient to stop him from running? I don't think, at this point, he got him on the ground. He was just screaming, yelling, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" Right?
Exactly.
And he's not running anymore. He is on the ground, and he continues.
Face down. He's face down on his stomach.
42 seconds. He keeps going. 42 seconds. And at some point through the
you can hear
incident, a civilian did help him arrest him or something like that. But this officer, Joe Young, has been an officer for 10 years and has currently been assigned to administrative duties.
Exactly.
Investigations should, probably find that it was excessive use of force because he was just trying to stop the guy. I really don't think he was a threat. Even after 5 seconds, he wasn't really that much of a threat. He wasn't running at that point, and he kept going for 42 seconds. So, Jason, what do you think? I'm going to give you the first crack at this one. My opinion on this one is, from what I understand, total, definitely police brutality in this case.
I totally agree with that, but I also want to make a point that in the video that we see, we cannot see what his hands are, like if he has his hands closed, if he has something in his hands. And so maybe he has something in his hands, and officers tell him to open his hands, and he's not doing it.
Well, no, listen, Jason. When you run electricity through you, think about what your muscles do.
Yeah, they tense up. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
but
that's
you see it move. You see it moving and
your
stuff.
Your entire body will contract right up as soon as your electricity is running through you, and that's why.
So, there you go. Then
that's why it's dangerous.
That throws it out.
And that's why if you put enough electricity through you, if you electrocute yourself, that's why you can't let go when you die.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
No, you're right.
That wouldn't be a fair assumption.
Yeah, that throws that out
for the man. Let go and see, like, his hands will let go, and whether there's anything in him or not. Well, I don't think he's going to be hurting anybody, especially after 42 seconds.
If there's something in his hands, tasing him might not be the answer there, especially for 42 seconds.
Yeah, it's just going to keep that thing in his hands.
Yeah. There are other alternatives.
Yeah.
His hand.
Yeah, pepper spray.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, like that's what will make him let go. Not like electricity makes all your muscles contract. That's why you can make your frogs heartbeat when you run electricity.
Did he feel threatened? Because there was also only one officer there.
Yeah, one officer. The other officer.
He might have felt threatened. You never know. He might have felt threatened for some reason.
Yeah.
Well,
there's just too many factors at play here.
Yeah. Like you expect, obviously, most police, they come in two usually, at least they do here, and either way, I think running probably wasn't the best choice for him.
Yeah, that's right, Cole. The police are better up there, ain't they?
I'm
not gonna say.
Yeah, I think that answers your question. But if he was really a threat, tase him for apparently this is one normal shot. Yeah, it's just a quote from a police spokeswoman said to Fox, a single trigger pull of a taser is a 5-second charge. Now a sustained charge, which it is what appears to occur in the video, is not prohibited, but we're looking into whether or not the circumstances that happened Saturday night indicated that it was appropriate. Now, from what we know, I don't think it was that appropriate.
No.
I think 5 seconds, you have the man down, you rush in, you handcuff him, you're coming to me.
And he wasn't a big guy. I mean, he's a small guy. I know some big guys out there can take a lot, and it takes them a while to, get on their knees or whatever. But
even then, you tase him, he's on the ground, he's had,
he's done.
You get off it, and you get on him, you handcuff him, and okay, buddy, you're coming to me.
Exactly.
You put him in the car, and you take him down to wherever, right?
I think there's a lot of factors. For one, I know I've personally seen videos of people being tased like that, where just doesn't affect them. But of course, like Jason said, this guy wasn't very big, but you just really have to like you guys said, he was the only officer that was on this guy.
Well,
so you really don't know what's going through his head. You don't know if he felt threatened
he had
or whatever.
But
either way,
he had a lot of time to think about it. He had 42 seconds to think. He had almost a minute to think about it.
Yeah. And, okay, so we can't really. Again, we weren't there. But either way, there has to be some perfect things that were going on in order to excuse this.
Yes.
He has to have some really good excuses.
Murder.
Like in Dallas or whatever. A few weeks ago, I'm sure Jason remembers it. Mentally ill man standing in the streets, perfectly still, for 4 or 5 seconds. Police shoot at him 4 times. One bullet hits him or whatever. They have bullets flying into the neighbors' houses. And then they went and made up a story saying he was aggressively walking forward with a knife when surveillance video shows him standing still. So, they'll call you aggressive.
Yeah, take it easy, Cole. Take it easy on that table now.
I'll hear it.
They will call you aggressive even if you're not.
The Canadians are aggressive
and that was
up there.
proved and that happened in Dallas. Man was standing still, and they shot on him anyways, and it said he had a knife, and he was aggressively walking forward. And surveillance video shows both of which are false.
You're right. That's totally aggressive overuse of their force, basically.
I think this needs to be looked at the same as if the cop went up to him and continually beat him for 42 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It needs to be looked at.
But then you see. Wait, say that again. Sorry, hang on. Say what you. I think I misheard you.
I think this case where he tased a man for 42 seconds should be looked at the same as if he were to walk up to the guy with a nightstick and beat him for 42 seconds.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah. But if that happened, I think the question, I wonder what happened.
It would be looked at a lot differently.
It could, yeah. I think, if this was the other way around, just for a second, and the guy that was running was tasing the cop, the guy would be in jail for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah.
But the cop is allowed to do this.
That's because he's got a badge.
And even if he does get fired, I highly doubt he'll be charged with anything.
Yeah, that's he'll be suspended, fined, and
Paid
at
without
worst,
leave.
Yeah,
fired.
you're no longer a police officer, but we're not going to charge you with anything. Have a wonderful life, sir. You just can't. You just can't be a cop anymore.
Yeah.
No more law enforcement for you. Be a security guard or something.
Have a wonderful
It's
life.
been fun.
And after 10 years, he obviously has experience doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like he was brand new in the job. I don't know what I'm doing. Even then, you do have a lot of training behind it.
So yeah. So do you think it was a fault in training? Do you think people they're being trained?
Well,
I think it was a fault in his judgment.
Yeah.
I think that, and a lot of them at some point get the idea that they're better than you. So,
there you go. Yeah.
That's an issue too, when they are better than you, and they believe they are better than you.
What do you know anything on the background on the guy that was tased? Was he like a robber or?
It doesn't really say anything about him. It just says his name, and he was 36 years old. He ended up being charged with obstructing justice, which is a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's quite excessive. 42 seconds being zapped.
Well, yeah, Jason, if you're running from a cop, which I don't think
you could have kids anymore.
Like if you're running from a cop, Jason, do you think 42 seconds would be the amount of time that it would take to get you down?
Nah, I'd say 2 minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes? Yeah, you need to be tased 2 minutes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously that's what the police need to do. They, obviously, there's nothing wrong with this at all. Of course, and if they just tase you because they can.
Yeah.
It's just how it works now.
Why don't I bend over? That way you can get the sweet spot.
Yeah. Afterwards, they'll do an anal search because you have drugs there.
Yeah.
That happened too.
Oh,
man.
wait, sorry, you're clenching your buttocks. We need anal search you now.
Yeah, John, seriously, there was a story in New Mexico. So this guy is leaving a Walmart, and he didn't come to a complete stop at a stop sign. Police pull him over, and he's getting out for some reason, and he's clutching his buttocks. Boom! He's got drugs in his anal cavity.
Oh man! He had the crap on the floor in front of him.
Yeah. They subjected him to 14 hours of tests. They took him to one hospital, and actually there was a drug dog involved too that had a possible scent of drugs.
Yeah.
And this happened in 3 other cases too. The same dog. In all 3 cases, they didn't find anything. But in this case, they subjected him to 14 hours of tests. The first hospital said it was unethical and they couldn't do it. And the warrant they had was only for that particular county. So they left that county. Warrant, no more. And they took him to a different hospital. They did it. And they did 14 hours of tests, 2 x-rays. Inserted like 3 enemas. And they examined his anus with the doctors examined his anus with their hands twice, multiple tests obviously, and they found a whopping amount of nothing.
Yeah,
great.
He's got a good lawsuit.
I would be suing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hope
he's gonna be banking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the hospital billed him for it after.
Hey, maybe we should have.
What?
That really flipped his lid there, huh? He was like,
what?
Like at least in Canada, if they do that to us, we don't get billed.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There's that Canada thing again. Something better.
We don't get billed for it.
We're just gonna put our hands in your butt, sir, and then you're gonna pay us. That's cool.
Yeah. At least you're not billing me for it, but
you have to crap on the floor.
I'll pay for my taxes.
There are many other services where you get hands in your butt.
Yeah.
For an amount of money.
I mean, that was just.
I'm glad Cole covered this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I did like all the articles this week.
Yeah, sure.
Except for one.
A lot of nasty ones.
Moving on to the next topic that should probably piss you two off because you're Americans. Illegal aliens get free prescription drugs from the U.S. government. Those who are living in the United States illegally seem to be receiving some pretty good treatment these days. In a recent report from the Department of Health and Human Services, it found the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, CMS, spent millions giving away free prescription drugs to those unlawfully present in the United States. They spent $29 million on Medicare Part B prescription drugs for 4,139 people who were illegally present in the United States. These people didn't qualify for benefits. And according to a report, federal law prohibits Part D payments for prescription drugs provided to unlawfully present beneficiaries, but they did it anyways because they didn't have the proper controls and policies to prevent this and find those who are unlawfully present. Like obviously they should have been prepared for this, as far as I'm concerned. But in another report, it also found that they paid $91.6 million to healthcare providers for services to 2,600 individuals unlawfully present in the U.S. So they spent over $100 million to people that aren't even supposed to be in the country anyways.
Yeah.
And all of this occurred in between 2009 and 2011.
That money could have been used on
American citizens, on American people, and they spent this in 2 years, over $100 million on people who aren't even supposed to be in the States. They should have, as far as I'm concerned, this should have been used on the American people who need this.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this one, John?
I don't even. It's just okay. Let me sit up here.
Yeah, you gotta
actually, one thing I do want to mention here is, like, they mentioned they didn't have the proper controls and policies to prevent this from happening. But why didn't they have these controls long ago? Why didn't they exist at this point, right?
It really just, like, there's not really much to say besides that it shouldn't have happened.
Not at all. No, this money should have been put back into America.
NSA.
That too, yeah, so they can more efficiently spy on you. But no,
with all this NSA stuff, you figure that they would have found out.
Yeah, they would have known this.
Exactly.
But you'd think at least this money should have been spent on the American people who do need health care, who are dying.
Yeah, exactly.
And it should have been spent on them. And they deserve it. They're American people. You don't just come to a country and mooch off them.
Right.
I'm not supposed to be here, but okay, give me all the stuff that's part of the Americans.
I also see this, for some people, this may be a reason to be against people from other countries.
Yeah, some similar stuff happens in Canada, actually, too.
They could get into racism and all that crap.
A lot of Americans come across the border for free health care.
I don't think that's necessarily the case where we should be blaming,
Exactly.
No, don't blame the people who are getting it.
More the government.
Yeah, blame the crappy policies to begin with. Like, why couldn't they have prevented this when, first of all, they're not supposed to be doing this, yet we didn't have such policies. Like, you've been dealing with these illegals for how many years, and you couldn't have possibly foreseen this happening?
Yeah, anybody could have taken advantage of the system. It just so happened that
like I said, this isn't just necessarily specific to the U.S. Like I said, it happens in Canada too. A lot of Americans hop across the border and get our free health care.
Well, I'm doing it in a couple weeks actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, people come across the border, which and get our free health care paid for by Canadian taxpayers.
I'm Canadian, so.
And I can understand it when healthcare in the U.S. it costs an arm and a leg, but literally.
Yeah, literally. I mean,
I kind of understand why they're doing it to an extent, right? And in both cases, it can have a huge impact on both healthcare systems because obviously here, I'm not criticizing you, Jason, but I'm just saying here it can have an impact because people who do come here for that, and you have a whole bunch of them doing it, they come here, get the free stuff, but since the taxpayers put money back into it every year, that doesn't happen with people that don't live here because they don't pay our taxes.
Yeah.
So they really are getting it for free.
Exactly.
And that's why it is legal, but they just don't get caught doing it. But and it's an issue on both sides of the border. Slightly different here.
Yeah.
But
in
both cases, it can really impact in both countries. And in the States, obviously, over $100 million could have been put back into American people. And in Canada, obviously, with our healthcare, just even healthcare-wise in the States, they could have done that. And here in Canada, obviously, we have our wonderful healthcare system paid for by taxes, and at least it doesn't cost an arm and a leg like it does in the States. But when you do have people hopping across the border, obviously they really are getting the free healthcare.
I got a question. It says this occurred between 2009 and 2011. Does that mean the $100 million was distributed throughout those years?
Yeah.
Or was it all at once? Okay.
Yeah, it's throughout the years. Not like they. Yeah.
Put $100 million into.
But yeah, that's what makes it interesting because when stuff is paid for by taxes, people who don't live there don't pay taxes.
Oh yeah, take $100 million for your health care.
And that's why even in both countries, sure it happens here too. And that's the problem. It doesn't ever get put back into the system because they don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the biggest issue with it.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Like, sure, yes, governments have a lot of money, but could that result in a lower quality healthcare for us in Canada? Could that result in less money for actual American citizens who actually need it?
Yes,
definitely.
Sure, taxes can pay for a lot, but
look at all the people that didn't have healthcare, don't have healthcare. You know.
Exactly.
That should have been given to them. You know, they're citizens of the U.S.
And that's why
they pay taxes.
And that's why here in Canada people get pissed off when people come here and mooch off our healthcare system, and that's why people in the States should be pissed off that people that aren't supposed to be there are mooching off their system. Because...
How about this? Let's just open up all borders? Okay, I said it.
Well, you know what, Jason? You know what I would support? I'd support just an open border between Canada and the U.S.
Oh, not Mexico? Why not Mexico? Are you racist? No, why not Mexico?
I'm not racist.
Are you racist?
No, I'm saying, I think Mexico, and we all know it's not a very safe country.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have.
Well, that's why if we open up the borders, we could bring our troops down there and take care of things.
I think that would do more harm than good.
Are you really?
I do.
But just imagine the controversy. If we opened up a border to Canada. There would be a lot of problems there.
A lot of fistfights on the border there.
Actually, our border is quite interesting. Like to mark our border, other than obviously the border crossings, there's just a big line cut in the trees, just open. There's no trees that ever grow there because we cut every single one of them down.
What the heck?
Just to show that it's the border.
What did you play? Like IEDs or like freaking?
It's
not crossing our border.
It's just a straight line. It's just a line through the trees, just all nicely cut. If any trees ever grow there, they're immediately removed. Because and it's been like that for like 150 years just because they can.
I wonder who would win in a fight. In a whole Canada versus United States.
I don't know, but I think like Jason, how would you feel if flip side of things, if a Canadian was in the States getting free prescription drugs from the U.S. government? How would you feel?
I would feel the same way I feel about this story.
Right, and that's why here, like I said, here in Canada, people get pissed off and people run across the border and wonderful free healthcare.
Yeah. And then Canadians talk trash about us in the United States all the time.
I'm not saying it's bad. Like, I understand why they do it, because I don't think very many people can actually pay for it. Like I've watched documentaries and stuff on it, and it's terrible. It's something that can totally be fixed, but whoops, don't have the money. I'm fucked.
It just goes back to what we said. Anybody can take advantage of a system.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily one group of people, but
no, and that's why you shouldn't necessarily blame the people. More so blame the crappy policies behind the problem.
You need to look at there's also a bigger picture. Is you got to look at all the other countries that are probably suffering way worse than what we're going through with this.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Some countries may not even have anything really. Like the U.S. In the U.S.
born in hay bales and stuff.
Like in the U.S., although yes, it's expensive, you have world-class healthcare.
Yeah.
You have the equipment's there, world class. Same just in Canada, it's quite the same. We have world class doctors, same equipment. It just doesn't cost us as much. We just pay for it in taxes. But in the end, it's the same equipment. And then Mexico and all that. I don't know what how it works down there, but I don't think it's that wonderful. And I know the Cubans get free healthcare too, paid for by taxes.
Mm-hmm.
They have a wonderful healthcare system there too, and it's interesting. And of course in Guantanamo Bay, where they keep all the terrorists, they get free healthcare there too.
Yeah.
They get better healthcare than American citizens.
Jeez, that's terrible. But you got to think of it too. They're humans. I mean, doctors have an obligation to take care of them, even if they are from a different country or whatever.
Yes, but I think people still have a problem when terrorents are getting better treatment than American people.
Absolutely.
Guantanamo Bay.
But then again, that's the system.
There you go.
Like we took these people from other countries, put them here, but we're going to give them better healthcare than the other 311 million Americans.
I'm going to be one of those people that sign up to move to go to Mars. I'm starting to call you on Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not going to be any healthcare there.
Yeah, I'm just going to say.
You get sick and that's it, done.
Well, it's going to be a whole totally different government. It's going to be separate from the government here. Yeah. I'm going to be the head. I'm going to be the head guy, the president. President of Mars.
Well, you look at this in government. I think at this point the government doesn't necessarily work that well, because like I mentioned in the beginning of the live stream, when you don't have money and you don't have an opinion, and because of that you don't have an opinion, the system is broke. It does not work. It's garbage. Get rid of it. No. It doesn't work.
And that's the problem we're having. That's the problem we're having.
Because the democracy, you're supposed to listen to everybody. But you see, with the way it works, Jason, you only listen to money. You see, you wave a bunch of $100, a bunch of money in someone from it. What you want us to do again? And then you call it a donation. That's just a bribery, a legalized bribery.
Yeah.
For the wonderful political party, and you just call it a donation, which is bullshit, really. And I think, first of all, we gotta stop paying them as much as they do get paid. You look at all the politicians; none of them are poor.
Right.
And I think you need to pay them much less. I think you need to put everyday people in there. The way I see it.
The average Joe. The average Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. An everyday person can relate to an everyday person.
Prosser for president.
But when you have more money than everybody else, a lot of people are going to get the idea, well, I'm better than everybody else. You see. And I think that's what's happening in government. It
happens in government. It happens. Sometimes it happens. It happens here, right in real life, in civilization, without the politics involved, government involved.
Even people.
Cole thinks he's better because he's Canada.
No, I don't think I'm better. Actually, I don't think I'm better at all.
Because they have the sun there.
Yeah.
I think the U.S. is a great country, but I think governments on both sides of the borders have the same problem. When these people make $400,000 or $500,000 a year, they become better than you. And that's what they think.
It's more enhanced with the government because they have power and they have the money.
Yeah. So they have the money and the decision-making power.
Yeah. We don't have that as civilians.
And it's something interesting I want to mention. I didn't tell you, but in Toronto with Rob Ford, and I don't know if John Prosser's heard about it, but the crack-smoking mayor of Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there we go.
The crack-smoking mayor of Toronto.
No, he's done some interesting things. But they stripped him of all his powers. I disagree with that because I think they should let the voters make that decision of whether he should lose his power or not. They just stripped him of his powers because they can. Obviously, they think he needs help, whatever. But I think, come election, they should just let him make the decision. As long as he can keep his drugs and stuff out of government, and still be an effective politician in the meantime, till the next election, or just call an election now.
Yeah. I want to say something on that.
Or Jason, they could call.
What if he hits a kid, on crack? Then we say, we should have took him out a long time ago. Maybe we wouldn't have this problem. Because what if he became a crackhead because he's in politics and he's so fed up with all the stuff that's going on?
I'll tell you something. I think
you never know.
Too. But you see, it could. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But you see, why not just call an election right now?
Yeah.
Right now and see what people want.
See what people want. Exactly.
Just a real simple vote.
Knowing that they know he smokes.
Just a real simple vote to see. Maybe not for different people, but just to see if they want him gone.
That's a good idea.
And if people say that they want him gone, sorry, Mr. Ford, but you're gone.
Yeah. Or you can sit and smoke as much as you want.
And if they say keep him in, then keep him in. And I think it should go that way. And remember, it's supposed to be democracy. People are supposed to have the opinion. But see, once again, the government's making their own decisions for the people. And obviously,
but they've been doing that.
I don't know if anyone. I don't know if anyone heard what he said recently in an interview. But did anyone hear what he said?
Mm-mm.
No.
Well, he was quoting what someone said, and apparently his quote was, "I never said I wanted to eat her pussy." Okay, and talking about
what?
Gotcha.
Talking about a friend of his. Okay.
Come on, watch them words, young man.
No, it's a quote. It's a quote.
It's a quote.
I'm allowed to quote. So he says that in reference to something that came up in the court document, saying that one of his friends, as he says, was there, and apparently he allegedly said that. And guess what his response to that was? His response was, "I'm happily married and I have more than enough to eat at home."
Oh, man. That was a good one. I give him props for that.
So, I got a kick out of it. But a lot of people are really pissed off about it. But I think he's still a human being. I think that's something you don't see. He's still a person. I don't think you see that a lot in government. People in government are supposed to be perfect. They're supposed to be better than everyone else.
Yeah.
But this person, he's showing everyday problems. He's showing that he's a human being. Mm-hmm. And he walks around in a jersey that says Mayor Ford on his back. He really does.
He's going to get judged for it, though, I think.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he's really shining. He is a person, and with everyday problems. And yes, some people may disagree with me, but I say call an election right now, and if people want him to stay in, let them. Mm-hmm. Not let government make their own decision. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we got a few more minutes left in the stream, so let's move on to the next topic. Planned obsolescence and its effect on consumers, the environment, and factory workers. Quote from the article, suicide nets should be a sign that something is seriously wrong. Yes, we all love these devices, but it's making millions of these things year after year, paying these factory workers essentially nothing. Right, that's a long article. Of course, it'll be in the description if you want to read it. But basically, the companies design these products to be obsolete in 2-3 years. They're It's just planned. Obviously, they make millions of these things every year, and they pay these factory workers nothing. So it's not fair to them when like I said, they're setting up suicide nets because they're all jumping off the buildings trying to kill themselves. That should be a sign that something's wrong, first of all, with how they do it. Environmentally, it's not that friendly because I think with all the chemicals they put out into the atmosphere every year, because they're making millions of these things. And think about how many these things are going to get thrown out in the next few years because they're obsolete. Like think about they sell like 60 million iPads every year. Over a 3-year span, think about how many that is, and then think about in the future when they're all going to be thrown out. And not everyone's going to recycle.
And they all have to be destroyed and all that.
Not everyone is going to do the right thing and recycle them. They're just going to accidentally put it in their garbage can and accidentally tie up the bag and accidentally put it out for the garbage guy to take it. Yep. That's what's going to accidentally happen.
I honestly try to keep my devices as long as I possibly can.
But see, marketing also plays a factor in this too. Yeah. It's marketed to people in such a way to make you feel like you're missing out because you have an older device. Like they praised you for buying this thing last year. Now you're an idiot for having it because it's junk. I really go into detail in this article. You can read it. Our viewers can read it. But I go into a lot of it, and really, it's not fair to the factory workers, especially when at this point they're committing suicide. Consumers, well, they're just endlessly spending money that they don't have to, and environmentally, it's not that friendly either. So, what do you think of planned obsolescence? What do you know about it, Jason?
Well, after today, I know quite a bit after reading the article, but I just find it kind of arrogant and stupid that they're doing this. Maybe, honestly, let me say this. I'm gonna say this. Maybe that's why Apple has a plastic device instead of aluminum or a metal devices, because it was too much money to make it with metal or
no, it wasn't too much money, Jason. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. No, it was to make it break sooner.
That's so you calling out Apple on that?
Every company does. Think about it. You look at anything. You make it plastic. You take your laptop, drop it, done. Look at your camera, drop it, done.
You're calling out Apple on making
Think about this, Jason. Look at cameras. Like the topic we started this thing off with. In the 60s and before that, what was the camera made of again? Metal. Yeah. You could beat the shit out of that thing and it would still work.
I think you have one there, don't you?
I do. I got a few. And today you drop a brand new camra, done, garbage.
This sucker right here is done. It'll be done if I drop it.
Yeah, 2-3 feet, finished. Those old metal cameras, throw them around. It's not going to hurt them.
And that goes for iPhones too. I mean,
you drop your iPhone on the corner.
And of course, we got these nice new cases, and they'll protect it, and
they're junk, but they'll protect it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just don't drop it over like.
Can you imagine dropping this?
Oh no.
Oh yeah, for sure, it'd be done, finished. Camera 40 years ago.
I'd be on my knees.
40 years ago, you drop it, still works. Technology's gone that point too. Even looking at cameras, those old manual cameras will function better in very, very cold weather too, and wet weather too, because you don't have to deal with electronics getting destroyed. You don't have to deal with things getting too cold. You don't have to deal with batteries because they're manual. And we've gotten to this point today where everything's made so cheaply. We make so many of them. We mass produce everything. That when we make things cheaply, they break easy.
Can't they see the bigger picture of what they're doing to the environment?
Past 20, 30 years, it's been an absolute throwaway society, Jason. As soon as you're done with something, you throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
It's no longer of any use to you. It's just garbage.
Whose fault is that? Is it our own fault, or is it the people that are distributing it?
It's just the way that we've been heading, really.
Yeah.
We've gotten to this point where we want to mass produce everything. These companies want to make millions upon millions upon millions of these products. And whatever happens to them in the end, well, who cares? We made our money. Do whatever you want with the damn things. And think about how many of these things end up in landfills. Not everybody has time to recycle them. Here we got these little eco stations where you can throw away your TVs and all your electronics. Go for a drive in the country, Jason, outside the city there, and you go into some empty fields. When you see couches and stoves and dryers and washing machines and
you see a guy sitting out on the
TVs.
toilet.
I have a couple views on this.
Actually, I remember a while back, I seen a dryer in the river.
What?
Well, that's good.
It's not where it goes.
It's just sitting there. Oh, okay, that's where somebody dumped their thing, you know. And and that's what people deal with the garbage. They don't want to take it somewhere, and they have to pay for it. God forbid they have to pay for it. And so they'll go drive outside of a city and like pay like triple what they would have at the dump or eco station or whatever, in gas first of all on the way there and back, and then they'll take the time to dump it somewhere and all that. And that's definitely not environmentally friendly at all, because it just sits there and rots for however long until someone either decides to clean it up or it just sits there forever. One of the two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? What if you gathered all that and kind of like made something out of that? Like
if you gathered all of it, Jason,
all the servers and computers and all.
If you gathered all the garbage that people dump.
No, not all of it. I mean like a lot of it. You know, most. I mean, build this massive, mega freaking.
I know what you're saying. But I bet if you found it all, you could cover an absolute immense area with it.
Oh yeah, would you be like if you had all the computers and everything and you used it all and hooked them all up together and
Yeah, and it's because of people like that. That's
like a supercomputer.
Just imagine what that's doing to the environment. People just dumping stuff wherever. Like these nice, beautiful places, right?
Yep.
And you're walking along or driving along.
I've seen them.
Like if you're respectful of going through the areas, it's fine. But you're going through and you see a stove there and a couch and a mattress and a computer and a TV. It totally destroys the environment.
Hey, that sounds like I'm gonna go there and get all that and sit on that rotten couch and just sit there. You got your laptop there.
And that's why so many of these areas, you go to lakes and stuff like this here. I'm sure it's probably similar in your area, Jason. I don't know, but here you go there, lakes and stuff, and people just take right over, do whatever they want. Actually, this one place, this guy was living there and cutting the damn grass at this one lake.
Hey, I got a question. You know those mailbox things or those mail newspaper things that you find on like the side of the street or whatever at convenience stores? Who like they have newspapers in them. You can put a quarter in it and you can.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. Those things.
There was one of those in one of the lakes down in Florida that I was at. So I agree with you. That there was. We stood on it. We tried to get it out. We actually tried to get it out, but we couldn't. It was too heavy, so we just stood on it to get it farther cast out. I think that's why they put it. That's why they put it in there.
That'd be cool. Clean it up, put it in your house.
We tried to get it out, but it's too heavy.
Yeah.
At least we tried,
I have a couple views on this, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, first of all, covering the topic of the factory workers committing suicide, if you are the owner or part of the head ups of the factory, when you realize, we have to put a suicide net there, that shouldn't be your first problem. It shouldn't be like, our people are committing suicide. Let's just put a net there.
No.
There's far worse problems.
Look, if they don't care that they're committing suicide and all they're doing is putting up nets, they're scum. They are scum.
Yeah. And as far as technology, okay. So if you really look at it, years ago, we had these massive computers, and then that's when normal people really started becoming geeks. And if there was a problem, you fix it. You teach yourself how to fix the hardware and stuff like that. Yeah. Now, if you look at like laptops specifically,
it breaks, you throw it out.
Yeah, when I had my first laptop, you could open it up and you could get to the parts that you want to get to and attempt to fix it. Now, the parts are so compact that it's so hard to get to any of those parts. So, one, you have to go to a computer repair shop, pay money, or you have to send it back and pay the manufacturer money, or you just get a new laptop. They're forcing people to do this. And
look at the iPad. Try fixing this thing if it breaks.
Yeah. As far as technology ending up on the street or in a lake somewhere, I think that's, of course, more society's fault, not so much mass production.
Yes, but think about this too. We've put out so many of these products and stuff that it's going to all end up somewhere eventually. And yes, it does come down to society too, but I think the company's going to feed it into the problem, because even if it doesn't get dumped there, people are going to. Not everybody's going to go. Take it to some eco station or whatever and have them properly recycle the thing. No, it's just going to accidentally end up in their garbage can, and they're going to accidentally tie it up, and they're accidentally going to let the garbage guys take it, come whatever day they come around, right? And it's going to end up in the back of the truck. It's going to get compact like it normally does, and it's going to end up dumped in some landfill, and it's going to sit there for however long.
I actually think that so we have these mass production of devices, stuff like that, and. Yeah. When you buy a computer from a store and you walk out, it's automatically obsolete. as soon as you walk out.
You know what? It was obsolete the minute they put it in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got some other upgrades
And,
coming.
and that's the problem too. Everything is meant to be obsolete. Every computer you buy is meant to be obsolete. Every phone you buy, computers generally last longer. But mobile devices are the worst for it. You buy it, you might as well be junk before you even pay for the damn thing. It's junk.
What are they gonna do when money is like precious metals, like gold and stuff like that? They ain't gonna be able to be doing that anymore.
Well, think about this, Jason. Think about this. Let's say 30 years, considering like we've been doing stuff like this for 30 years, anyways.
Yeah, more than that.
But it really big for 30
back in the
years.
caveman days, man.
Yeah, but we've like mass producing stuff. We've really stepped it up in 30 years.
And I actually really respect that though. Like these devices might be obsolete, but that just goes to show you how quickly technology is evolving.
It's evolving.
And I actually really respect that.
Yes and no,
very
actually.
Good.
Because for a company, you can also for a lot of companies, it makes sense to hold back on technology and just put out crap. It really does, and just slowly improve the technology.
Yeah,
every year, think about this,
all these companies are doing that. Not
every year, like just taking this once again back to the iPhone. Yeah. Every year, they make very, very incremental changes to the phone.
Yeah,
they generally look the same. They might change up the design every few years.
Or the size.
Make it look fancy, you know.
Yeah.
But generally, it's all about marketing and how good it looks. That's why the iPhone looks good. It's not devices that look good sell well. I mentioned that in the article.
It also works well too. It also works well too.
Yeah,
if we can,
that's like my opinion on like the Apple stuff, whatnot, iPhones and whatnot. Yeah. Apple has a history of not putting out features that don't work perfectly. It's just it might be slower than the others. Android might have done it 2 years prior, but you know what? It definitely was not as good. That's something I really respect about Apple.
That still comes down to marketing too. That's very good marketing. It's very good marketing because then you make people think that we are the best in the industry. We take the time with our products to make sure everything works before we put it on to the consumer. So that makes everyone think that they're better, and that's why people keep coming back to these things every year after year. But if we go down this road for another 30 years, producing millions upon millions upon millions of these things, how many billions are we going to have in 30 years? And what are we going to do with all these billions of things?
We're going to take it to space.
Because, like, first of all, like, in 30 years...
Mars with Jason when he starts his new government.
In 30, 40 years, Jason, they'll be antiques. But they won't be worth anything because there's billions of them.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, obviously, antique-wise, it's not going to make any sense. It'd be like 200 years before they're worth anything. And so, like, what are we going to do? Like, billions upon billions of these things, and we have nothing to do with them. You know, half of them end up in landfills. Some of them get recycled. Some of them will end up in someone's drawer for the... another 30 years.
I honestly think with the situation of all the stuff going on with garbage and pollution and all that, if we were to devise a way to get to space with a very cheap way to get to space, like a big elevator of some type, take all the garbage, all the stuff that we need to get out of here, that's basically destroying the planet, and get it into space. Get it far out into space as far as we can get it and leave it out
just
there.
dump it on some planet, throw it into Jupiter? Ooh, gun no.
No, throw it into the sun. Okay, throw it into the sun. There you go. That's how you do it. Strap a little rocket on there, and there she goes. Garbage and pollution solved.
Garbage and pollution, and also money.
I'm not an expert.
Yeah, money.
I'm not an expert on things. This might sound really far-fetched, and I could be dead wrong.
Well,
but Jason, what happens to a fire when you put more stuff into it?
It
gets bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Gets hotter too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So wouldn't the sun do the same thing?
But most of that garbage will incinerate before it gets into the sun. Like, it'll just be gone just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's
still the energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah, but look how far away the sun is. I mean, come on.
Well, okay, well, come on. Like, all that energy still hits Earth, like 93 million miles away.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think that all the garbage.
You gotta find somewhere to.
Most of the stuff that's not decomposing or able to be broken down.
Well, we need to mainly
get that out of here.
Mainly technology-wise, we just need to improve recycling techniques and actually get people to recycle.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants
people. People are the problem.
People are the problem.
Oh, for sure we are. People are a big problem. So are the companies because they just feed into this. But look at batteries and stuff. When's the last time you actually recycled one of these things? Because it says right on it somewhere that you should recycle them.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
It takes a while for those to get broken down.
So how many of these have you thrown in the garbage?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And we're all guilty of it, but you're not supposed to do that.
It's dangerous too.
And how many people do you think throw their phones in the garbage at some point?
Yeah, batteries in the back of those.
How many people do you think throw their laptops in the garbage at some point?
There you go. Yeah.
I hope no one.
Yeah,
It makes me
because
sad just thinking
I
about
know
it.
that's technology. What are you doing?
And not everybody
I can't use
recycles.
that
Like
on my server.
TVs, I think most people may generally do the right thing with them because they're a little bigger. But with computers, you can throw them in a garbage bag.
I just want to say
Mhm.
I got a Pentium 2 computer underneath my bed.
And with they may do the right thing. I think environmentally, it has a huge impact, and factory-wise, it has a huge impact too. Because these workers are forced to do this year after year, and they only make $1 an hour.
Mhm.
What is that? It gets. They're not making anything. They can't really sustain themselves. What's $1? Let's say they work 9 hours a day. They make $9 a day.
That's why you can kind of say that people are throwing away stuff that's not junk. That's why I say, oh, another man's junk is another man's treasure.
Oh, sure they do. Like for me, I like old stuff.
Mhm.
But think all this old stuff. 20 years after it was made, everybody was busy throwing it out.
Mhm.
That's why people like it now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's done throwing it out. But I think in 30 years we're gonna have a lot of stuff in our landfills.
Oh yeah, if we don't come up with something to recycle and all that.
Yeah.
Solution.
All this technology, it's never been this big before to this extent, the way it is now.
But you got to say that technology is evolving, and
technology
it's evolving. Technology could be the thing that changes all the problems that we have.
Yeah, it can, but Jason, it's evolving, but we just don't know how to deal with the waste it creates.
Yeah.
Or we just don't want to deal with it. Yes,
that's why
but the problem is these companies are very busy trying to, obviously turning it away to make money, and that's why they just come out with, very minor changes every year, and they're hoping you just buy a new one every year or two.
That's why we need a big company to devise a way to do better recycling and all these.
And the cool thing is, nobody can compete with them. Jason, if you started making your own phone, no one would ever buy it.
No.
Guaranteed. So there is no competition.
That's because I didn't have Steve Jobs for marketing and all that.
Yeah, you just didn't exist at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's why today, only certain companies do it, and only certain companies can make money off it. And planned obsolescence, I personally think it's a terrible thing because environmentally it's bad. Like I said, factory workers, they're all killing themselves, and you gotta wonder why we have to make millions of these things every year.
Oh yeah.
And consumers, well, if they want to spend
that's for sure.
That much money every year, well, have at it. But just remember what happened. Just remember the backstory behind that thing you just bought. Did somebody die making that thing, Brian?
Yeah.
Don't say that. Now Apple's going out of business, man.
They won't go out of business because one of two things happens: either people don't care or they don't know.
Yeah.
They already got busted for that. Earlier this year, when back when our show was really, really early, they actually did have a factory, and then reports came out that Apple was connected with this factory, and Apple freaked out.
I think I remember that.
They did not know how to handle it because they were getting everyone was backlashing.
Yeah,
because,
Nike's had problems like that too in the past. Making shoes. Their little sweatshops there. But come on, these companies will continue doing it.
Yeah.
They'll just put on a show for a few years, and then as soon as everybody forgets about it, they'll just have new factories and they'll go back to their old ways because no one's watching anymore. You know what?
And
Because
think about
paying workers nothing with these shitty workplaces, paying them nothing, it saves money in the end.
Well, just think about what happened when that story broke and everybody was freaking out. Apple cut ties with that factory, and then all of a sudden, Macs are being made in the USA or assembled in the USA.
Some, not all. Some, not all. You know why it was done? It was done for a show. And they make doing it. Yeah, and they make the most they make the Mac Pro in the States, don't they?
Assembled.
I think that's the specific model they make, and that's just for show. It's just making it's making people think that Apple is interested in benefiting the U.S. economy. It makes them think that. It also makes them think that they're moving away from their old ways of paying people nothing at this factory. Give them a few years.
It's still happening.
Yeah, give them a few years, and they'll be right back at it. No one's watching anymore.
They're still at it now. They just wanted to cut ties with that specific factory because they got caught.
They'll just open up. They'll just start a different factory somewhere else.
Yep.
Instead of China, they'll go to somewhere else, some other country that has just as many problems. And not Canada, but even even Canadian companies. There was that factory in I don't remember what country that one of the Canadian companies got caught making stuff there when the building collapsed. I don't remember what country it was, but a building collapsed factory. And I'm surprised the company did anything, but they're actually I know they're paying or something. They're paying these families or something, which is actually quite interesting. But like I said, planned obsolescence, terrible thing. Anything else you want to mention for tonight's stream, or shall we end this off?
What about the 2 other topics? We're gonna pass that on, or what?
We're done, aren't we? 2 other topics we're doing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow, it's 10:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that. Yeah,
so,
we can call it a show.
All right. So like I said earlier in the show, you can follow John Prosser at John_Prosser. You can follow Jason Goyette at Jason Goyette, both on Twitter. I'm Paul Kruper, and you can follow me at CK270. And thank you for everyone that watched tonight. We'll be right back here live next week, Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, with Jason Goyette and a guest. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.
Canada sucks. Canada sucks.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Everyone.
Last word.
We're still up.
Anyways.
Anyways.
Yeah, Canada sucks. Canada sucks. Last word. Canada sucks. Yes. Right. Go ahead.
Have a good night.
Okay, an example would be a wedding. Okay, yep. You have how many pictures of people or events that happen at a wedding?
Oh, jeez.
But what are those pictures for? It's not so you can look at the pictures and be like, wow, I got married. It's to remember the experiences that went along with it. So I definitely agree with you.
And when you take pictures, so you want to make sure that they look as natural as possible, can really capture the scene. But if you're just taking thousands of pictures, come on, they're not going to capture the scene.
And I think that's just modern technology, like Jason said. When you walk up and they're like, oh, we're at a zoo. We could look at the animals and we could admire the scenery or check them out, or we could just take a picture and leave and then look at it later when we get home. That'll work too.
And, oh my God, look at this! And tourists are probably really bad for it because that's what they spend most of their time doing. And sure, I take pictures when I'm elsewhere too. But you got to at least appreciate the place first before you can get good pictures of the place. You see?
So do you think we should dial back on that, or do you think eventually that'll be integrated into our everyday life? We'll just be so used to it,
Well, that would be a terrible hit to photography when you think about it, because if so many people are taking so many shitty pictures, there is no art in photography anymore at that point.
Right.
Of course, Instagram has sped that up, but maybe film was better in that sense. And I know I'm kind of going into a rant on cameras, but film may have been better that way because film, it's being in the roll of film, you need limited, with regular roll of film, 24 or 36 pictures, right? And it costs money to get them developed, so
they meant more that way.
It costs money to get crappy pictures. So then, first of all, you don't have the opportunity to take thousands of pictures unless you have thousands of dollars. So you get to see the scene, Think about it. When you let's say, Jason, let's say you're walking down in a back alley. It's a dark back alley, but it's a nice sunny day, right? Mm-hmm. Was the sky all blown out in white by chance, or was it blue?
It was blue.
Okay, so obviously your eye and brain is better at seeing the.
What about certain things? What about certain things? Like certain things are better for a camera, or certain things are better for your eye, or your eye overall.
Photography.
It's better for really the idea of photography is just to be able to go back and look at it at some point and share the experience with other people too. Yeah. But seeing it just as it is, like you see with HDR, you can capture an entire scene in all its colors and all its glory. Your eyes can do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. So you guys won't be the ones to sign up for having a camera implanted in your eye, huh?
Unless I can make my vision any better, why not? But,
there was a movie I saw, and it was just like a horror film, and it was cut up into segments. But one of the segments was that a guy did lose his eye, and they implanted a camera, like a fake eye with a camera in it. And it was a found footage movie, but the footage was from his eye. It was the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen.
Holy cow!
Well, actually,
there's a lot of purpose in that.
I think I read about this before, but it's actually someone that was blind their entire life, right?
Yeah.
Never seen a thing, doesn't know what anything looks like, doesn't know what colors are, because obviously a blind person can't know what colors are if they've never seen them. And they were able to make him see with the camera.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Like John has said, it has a lot of potential in the
medical field mostly.
Yeah. Do you think people would be afraid of that?
Yeah, I think some people look and say, well, the government can more, and you get to really think about those pictures. So you get, and at the end of the day, you'll get more good pictures, and once again, rant into photography. But you'll be able to appreciate the place more, and you'll have good pictures at the end of the day. So are we missing out? Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah.
And not to get too deep here, but I've actually had these conversations before where it's more like you can have material things, you can put your money towards material things, or you could, like you guys were saying, you could have pictures.
Yeah.
What happens when those pictures are lost or destroyed? Something happens to them. there's one thing that you always carry with you throughout your whole life, and it's the memories and the experiences that you had. So going up to a gorilla, taking a picture, and walking away doesn't really give you the greatest experience.
Well, if you wanted a picture of a gorilla, here's the process of doing it. Yes, you go to Google Images and go gorilla, and you get thousands upon thousands upon
that was a
thousands
good
of
experience.
Like,
one time I went to Google and I visited thousands of gorillas.
Yeah, like, see, I remembered that, like, it wasn't unique at all in any way, shape, or form, but I did it. And I don't remember what country has it, but those pink monkeys or whatever, I think those are really cool. But if you wanted to see those, once again, you just Google it. Like, there's no sense in, of course, interacting with them or anything. And yeah, I think maybe we take too many pictures without any.
Now, also, do you think that cameras show better detail than your own eye does?
If you want ultraviolet light, yeah, sure. Or, no, infrared, right? Yeah. If you want to see the light coming from your TV remote, sure, why not? But still, our eyes are better. Like I guess with cameras, I kind of disagree with you there. Because if you're taking a picture of it, you're already there.
Yeah.
You've seen it with your eyes. So you're just holding the camera up to your eye for a few seconds.
And the reason why I came up with this
unless you're one of those person that does like this.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I came up with this article is I was in Florida back when I lived there, and I was at a theme park, and I noticed a whole family had their cameras out, and they were looking through the screen, taking the picture. Now, when they got done taking the picture, they all left. They did not look back to look with their own eyes to look at the gorilla that we were taking the picture of. They just wanted that picture and then leave. It's like, okay, you just look through the screen of the camera, but you did not look at it with your own eyes to see it.
But they would have seen it. They would have seen it for a few seconds. They may not have appreciated it, but they've seen it.
Exactly. So are they having less appreciation for these objects?
It's like here, I've been through the mountains we have here in Alberta and BC. We got the Rocky Mountains here, and national parks associated with them. And you go there and you're walking around or whatever, and I walk around with my camera. I've been there too, right? But I try to enjoy it too, right?
Exactly,
I'll look at it, and that's part of taking a good picture too. You have to at least see it, visually in your mind, figuring what's going to be a good composition, blah blah blah. And if you're just snapping, like, oh, look at me, I'm taking thousands of pictures. They're all terrible, but I've got thousands of pictures. So you're not seeing the full picture in doing that. You're just more focused on the pictures than you are the place you are, and you don't appreciate it. And at the end of the day, you got pictures. You didn't get memories. You didn't spend any time there, really. And if you're with your family or something, once again, you didn't spend any time with your family. You spent time with your camera.
I actually agree with that. That's a good point because, okay, let me think of an example.
Welcome back to another News in General live stream. And tonight, of course, I'm Cole Kruper, and I'm the owner of I'm the co-owner of News in General and the host of tonight's live stream. And of course, we have the owner of News in General with us, Jason Goyette, and of course, the host of Front Page Tech, John Prosser. You can follow him on Twitter at John_Prosser, and you can follow Jason on Twitter at Jason Goyette, and you can follow myself at CK270. So let's jump right into it. Tonight, first topic is an article Jason wrote posing the question of
Are we replacing our eyes with cameras?
Hang on, the question he posed, are we replacing our eyes with cameras? So I'm just going to read into it a little bit here. You've probably noticed it, but everywhere you go, more and more people are looking through a lens or screen. Why? Well, we are becoming more assimilated into the Borg collective. Haha. However, when you look at it, it's not so funny because it's truth. So the question is, are we seeing the full picture if we were always looking through a lens or a screen? Which is a good question. You're always seeing less because we look through screens and stuff like that. And yeah, probably because when you think about it, people that have been to some magnificent places, they'll always say when they come back, the pictures don't do it justice.
Yeah, exactly.
But where do we see these pictures? On the computer. We don't have these papers anymore. We don't have to film here. Well, except for me, I still use film to an extent. But obviously, yeah, you do get more, actually seeing it in person. So you are missing out when you look through